Hey guys, what's up everyone? Welcome to a new video. In today's video I'm going to tell you more about the JavaScript map function. As you guys know, we always provide a written tutorial that goes along with our videos. I will leave the link to that written tutorial in the video description below. Alternatively, you can just go to cosec.com, click on Learn, and then on JavaScript tutorials, and in there you will find all of our JavaScript tutorials. And the one we are going to look at today is JavaScript Map. And if you open up that article, which we highly recommend because that makes it much easier for you to follow along, then you can see that there is a REPL.it repository attached to this article that you can open by clicking on fork REPL, and this opens up the code that we are going to write during this video, which makes it very easy for you guys to follow along and play around with. So we highly recommend you guys pulling up that article while we are going through the video. Also guys, if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please do so. This is a brand new channel. We created this channel to make learning more interactive for you so that we can link together all of the videos that we provide to our blog articles, which hopefully results in a better learning experience for you guys. Let us know what you think about this approach in the comments of this video below. With that being said guys, let's jump right into JavaScript Map. Now, the JavaScript Map function in JavaScript is a method that allows you to transform every element in an array into a new element based on a provided function. This is a useful tool for creating a new array from an existing one and can be used to perform a variety of operations on the data contained within an array. Now, let's look at some examples. To demonstrate you how the JavaScript map function works, let's look at a simple example here. In this example, this map function is used to square each element in an array. So let's say we have an array with const numbers, and we have to make the screen a lot bigger for you guys to see that properly. And again, this is REPL.it. If you want to check that out, you can click on the link, and we always like to keep our exercises interactive, and this allows you to code along right with us without setting up any development environment or such. Okay, so this numbers array, we just say it's a couple of numbers in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when we go ahead and create the map function, the default or the syntax for this map function is const. Then you do a function name, so let's say squared numbers, or this is actually the variable where we are going to store the output of our map function in. So we say const squared numbers equals numbers, and now we call the map function, which is numbers. So you call the map function on the numbers array, so it's numbers.map. Then you open up some parentheses, and inside of that we just say n for the number that it's looping over. So this n represents each element of this array. We can also call this item or whatever we want. It doesn't matter, it's just a placeholder name. And then we do a arrow function here, and then we do n times n, so number times number. And once we have that set up, we can then go ahead and just console.log the output of this function. And we want to get the squared numbers because that's where our numbers are stored in. Now, if we run that, that should give us the square of each element. Let's check it if it's actually working. Might take a couple of seconds here because I'm running this first time. Okay, there we go. So we see 1, of course, is still 1, and then 4 is doubled, and we have the square of 3, which is 9, and 4 is 16, and 5 is 25, and so on. So you can see the syntax of the map function is pretty easy, and this is just to show you how the syntax looks like. Now in this code, the map function is called on the numbers array, as we've seen here, and is provided with a callback function that squares each element in the array. The resulting array squared numbers contains the squared values of each element in the numbers array, just to summarize that again. Now, we can also use the JavaScript map function on an array of objects. This is what a lot of you guys always ask us. Can you also use that on an array of objects? And the answer is yes, you can. So the map function is a powerful tool for transforming arrays, and it can be used in a variety of different ways. For example, you can use it to create a new array of objects based on the elements of an existing array. Now, what does that mean? Let's look at it. Let's say we have an array of objects. We say users equals to an array of objects. So we open that up, and let's just say it's an ID here, ID1, and a name. Let's say John. Okay. So we have an array of objects. Now we have just one object. Let's make it a bunch more. So I'm gonna just copy and paste that. Copy, next one, let's say we make 4 of them. So we're gonna change the IDs respectively, 3, 4, and we also change the names up a bit. John, Jane, Bob, and Sally, or Sully, however, where you're located. Your mileage may vary. Okay, so now we have an array of objects here, and if we now go ahead and again create a variable, let's say names, and equal that to now users.map, again we call the map function on the users array of objects this time, and we say u for user, arrow function, user.name. Now what we are going to do here, let's see, let's just console.log that. Let's console.log the names variable and see what it says. What do you expect it will say? So as you can see, it basically pulls out all of the names that are present in the user's array of objects, and it puts it in a completely new array called names. So you might now get an idea of why this is useful when you are writing JavaScript code. Now again, let's summarize. In this code, the map function is used to create a new array called names. It's this one here, containing the name property of each object in the users array. So it's looping over the users array of objects here, and on each of those objects, this is the u, represents one of each of those, and then we say we want the u.name property here. So we're accessing this, and then it's going to push it basically into a brand new array for us, where only the names of this array of objects is contained in. Okay, so this is the next thing we can look at. Pretty interesting. You can use that for many different use cases. Now, can you map an object in JavaScript is another question we get a lot. The answer to that is yes, you can map an object in JavaScript by using the object.entries method to convert the object into an array of key value pairs first, and then using the map function to transform the array. There is no built-in map function to use with JavaScript objects, so this is kind of a workaround. Now let's demonstrate what I mean by that. Let's create an object. We call it const user obj, just like this. User object, short for object. Then we do ID1. Let's give it a name. Say Jane. Okay. Just to represent the object here. And let's say age 30. So we have 2 numbers here and 1 string. Now we are going to apply some logic to this, that you can actually see that we can do something with the result of that. So I'm going to just write a function that basically doubles the numbers in this object. So we say we double this number and we double this number. Of course, we cannot double the name. It's just a mere demonstration of how this function works. Now let's write our function. Let's say const update user, in case we want to modify the data, right? So we do object entries, and then we open that up, and then we do pass in the user object that we have up there, and then we do dot map. And now it gets a little bit dicey here. If you are new to all of this, or if you're new to programming, this can look quite a bit confusing. So we pass in some logic here, and that is we need to first create a key value pair. That's I'm going to go in detail over this function, what it does, after we wrote it out. So we enter a key and a value, then we do an arrow function, and then we say, let's do something with that. So we say key and value times 2, and then we need to chain the reduce function on it. And again, I explain to you what that does in a second. And we say the object and the key and value, another arrow function here, and then we say dot dot dot. It's the 3 dots method. Now don't worry about this. It's just to put again together this object, and we do object comma, and then the pass in the key, and then a colon, and then value. We have to close that off, and then we need to add a comma on the right spot and pass in an empty object. Again, very not easy to understand. I get it, but I just want you guys to know that it's possible to actually kind of use the map function on an object. And let's just console.log the result, and it's already written here because I just tried it out. So we do console.log and we do update user. So let's run this, and you already were able to see the output anyway. Nevertheless, let's run it. So as you can see, it actually doubled the user ID. It couldn't double the name because it's a string and not a number. And it set the age also to a double value, which is 60 in this case. Now, how all of that actually works. So in this code, the object entries method, which is this one, is used to convert the user object, which is this one, into an array of key value pairs, which is this, key and value. Now this array is then passed to the map function, that's what we do here, which doubles each value in the array, which we do here. And then finally, the reduce method is used to convert the resulting array back into an object. So with this reduce function, we convert the result back into an object, which is represented here. So we basically did a two-part conversion. First, we put the object into a iterable array, and then we put this array back into a object. Now keep in mind that this approach will only work for objects that have simple data types like numbers and strings as values. If the object contains nested objects or arrays, you will need to use a more complex approach to the map to map the object. Now there's also a little bit of an easier way to write this in a one-liner, so we can do the same thing. Let's say let's leave that at user object and remove this logic here, and then you can just do let new object equals object dot from entries. So we use the from entries method here, and we say object dot entries, then we pass in the user object, and then we do a map. Now this gets even. This is probably more hard to understand than the previous one. The previous one is the broken down function. This is the one-liner that we can use to do the same thing. So we do map, and then we shorten things a little bit. So instead of key and value, we just do k and v for key and value. And then we basically do the same thing. We do an arrow function, and then we say k, comma, v, so key and value times v. And then we close that off. I think that should do. We are missing something somewhere, as always. Let's see, this looks pretty good. Okay, this should work. And let's see, console log new object. New object. Let's see if it actually works. I think I missed something somewhere. It's always if you write too many parentheses, yep, type error, there we go. I knew it. So I'm gonna just copy and paste that from the article. There we go. Yeah, I missed one. One parentheses. Now let's run it. Oh, we have the wrong object in here. Probably I called it different in the article. Yep, there it is. User object. Sorry for that. Now if we run it, it should work. There we go. Now it returns. Again, the ID and the age is times 900 because now we are multiplying it by the value itself and not just times 2. I think before we did times 2. Let's see if we change that to times 2. And there we go. We have ID 2 and age 60. So this is basically the same thing, just in a one-liner and a little bit shorter. I know this is a pretty complicated topic to wrap your head around if you're new to JavaScript, but the JavaScript map function is a useful and versatile tool for transforming arrays in JavaScript. It allows you to easily create new arrays based on the elements of existing arrays and can be used to perform a wide variety of operations on array data. And yeah, I guess practice a little bit with it. Definitely open up the Replit repository and play around with it yourself. You get the hang of it once you work more with arrays. You definitely need the map function all the time if you work in a programming gig, and I hope this video helps. If it did, guys, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Once again, we need to get subscribers up on this channel, and also check out the blog for regular updates. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you back in the next one. Until then.